it's funny because Peru and Bolivia, you think, because they're next door to each other, you think that they would be so similar, and I think that they couldn't be more different. And I remember getting into Lima the first time is not that big a deal because you go straight to the MTC, which is, you're sheltered and you're safe, it's okay. But you go out once a week and you go visit less active people. And so you kind of start to absorb the culture and see what things are really like. And I remember getting into my first area, and I was with a North American then, and I was terrified out of my mind. It was so foreign to me, and Lima is very brown, and the sun doesn't really shine because there's this thick cloud of pollution, and rain can't even penetrate it, so it never rains in Lima. It'll mist every now and again, but it does not rain, and the sun does not. There's no blue skies. There's nothing. And people clean off their trees with brooms. I mean, it's dirty. And you've learned to just love it for some reason. And I kind of, near the end of my time in Lima, I started to feel like, I'm not supposed to be here. This is not my mission. This is not where I'm supposed to be. And I was really looking forward to getting to Santa Cruz. And it was 9 months to the day. As a sister missionary, the elders have their 1 year mark and they burn their shirt or their tie or whatever it is. And the sisters have the 9 month, which is normally when a baby would come. And so lots of sisters, including myself, would do the picture where you have a little belly, you stuff your shirt up there, have a little pregnant belly, it's your 9 month mark. And so we did that the night before I left. And in fact, the sister I was with, that I did that with, we're still really good friends to this day, just crack up about that. And then you get into Santa Cruz and it's green and it rained that first day. I mean, poured rain, and it's just everything is different there, and it's two totally different places. But after kind of wrapping it all up, I realized my true purpose in Lima, and it was all meant to be, that I was meant to go there for 9 months and serve the people that I did. And some of the people that I know there I'll never forget, and investigators that I had that some are members, some aren't, and some I don't know, but that there was all a reason why I went there. And one lady in particular, I can definitely identify that I know, if anything, I was meant to go to Lima for her. And it's kind of nice to say, people say, where'd you serve? I said, well, I served in Lima, Peru, and I served in Santa Cruz, Bolivia. And why'd you do that? And I said, oh, that's just kind of how it all worked out. And I got to do 2 cultures and 2 everything else. But it's a culture shock no matter where you go. And it was amazing how when I left Santa Cruz, I had a homesick feeling from Lima. Like, it wasn't I needed to go back to Utah. It was, I really feel sick. I want to go back to Lima. And now I realize that Bolivia was so much more in my heart than Lima ever was, but it was good. As I said with Lima is a very dirty city. It's brown, there's pollution, it doesn't rain, nothing. I got more sunburnt there, though, than I ever did in Santa Cruz, which is so surprising to me. And if you go check the weather right now for Lima, Peru, I promise you, it will say about 76 degrees, overcast, every single day. There's no change ever. I've never once checked the weather in Lima and seen any variation whatsoever. Maybe 77, maybe 75, but never more than that. And it's hilarious. And then you go to Santa Cruz, and Santa Cruz is, like I said, blue skies and sun shining, and then it's raining and thunderstorms. It's kind of like Utah, where the weather just changes like that. And we would be outside and it'd be perfectly sunny, and then 2 seconds later it's pouring rain and we're soaking wet, and you never knew what to do. There's no seasons in Lima. In Santa Cruz, there's about 2 weeks of winter and 2 weeks of summer, and they are brutal because the winter time is so cold because it's so humid. You cannot cover up enough. I mean, we had long johns on and sweats and long skirts and sweaters and coat, and nothing we could ever do would ever cover up enough for that bitter, bitter cold. And it lasted, like I said, about 2 weeks, and then it's over. And the summer, same thing, burning hot to where you just itch, and you have to shower like 10 times a day just to get cool and kind of go through all the motions. The people there in Lima are the most friendly, happy people you could ever deal with. And really, that's how Santa Cruz is as well. The people in South America, I think as a whole, are so welcoming and so kind, very set in their religion usually, which is usually Catholic. That's just kind of the religion down there. And so you'll hear a lot, I was born a Catholic and I'm going to die a Catholic. And that's what the phrase that you would hear from everybody. But the kindest people. I mean, rarely did we have a run-in. Every now and again you find somebody grumpy, but rarely did we have somebody who's just outright mean. If anything, you almost wanted them to be a little bit more mean because they were so nice to you about, yeah, come on in, come on, I'll listen to you. And then I'm not going to go to church, but I'll listen to you. You're almost kind of like, just tell me if you're not going to go to church. Just tell me if you don't really want to listen to me. But truly just the kindest, sweetest people. Lima as a city it's busy and it's crowded and there's so many different places, and there's Miraflores, which is kind of a more ritzy place where tourists go and things like that. And Santa Cruz, it's not really a touristy town. It's set in rings, and the center ring is downtown, and you get to the first ring and it's still kind of a classier area. The more rings you get out to the 8th ring, and there's dirt and there's cows running the streets. I mean, there's just nothing out there. It's just kind of pure vegetation. There was a lot more culture in Santa Cruz, I thought. The German Mennonites live in Santa Cruz, that was a real shock to me when I saw all these tall white people with bleached blonde hair, and I thought, who on earth are they? And they're German Mennonite farmers, and they come into the city and sell their produce. And that's just what they do. I don't know the history I know there's a reason why they're there and what they do, but I imagine that the lush ground is perfect for all of their crops and all of their produce. So, I mean, just two very different places, but I'd say the people are very similar in that you just feel love and warmth from all of them.